Thanks again for sticking with us today. Texas Democrats will come out of this weekend with a new party leader. A vote tomorrow will decide who will become the next party chair. It's happening after a dismal showing during last year's elections for Democrats at the statewide level in Texas. Here to tell us more about that contest is Kayla Guo, who covers Texas politics and government for the Texas Tribune. Kayla, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Will.
We're so appreciative of you being here in the studio with us because there's a lot to talk about. Let's catch people up about how we got to this point. So the Texas Democratic Party chair, Roberto Hinojosa, announced he would step down from this post at the end of last year, basically. What was his reasonings for doing that?
Yeah, so Chair Hinojosa had been in this position. He had been the sort of face of Texas's efforts to show that it's a competitive state for Democrats, that Democrats had a chance of winning statewide. He'd been in this post for over a decade, but after the dismal performance that Democrats saw in November, I think he said it was time for a new direction for the party. It was time to get someone fresh into the role who could take the party somewhere else. I think Democrats were super concerned looking at the results that the gains they had made during his tenure were being lost, and it was time for a refresh. It was time for a reset. And
we will get that at some point tomorrow with that decision. We'll talk in a moment about who is running to succeed him in that particular post, but let's help people understand why that job is important to Texas Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the person who sets the vision forward, who sets the path forward for the state party. This person's job is super important. They play a huge role in fundraising for the party and deciding where resources go, how to invest and approach different parts of Texas. They set the message, they coordinate with the national party and try to convince them to invest in Texas as a possible place where Democrats can win. So they play a huge role in leading the party forward after, again, what was a really poor showing in November.
And as we mentioned, that vote will happen tomorrow to decide who will become the next party chair. There are a few candidates running. Talk to us about who some of those people are, and maybe is there a particular candidate that might be more likely to become the next chair?
Yeah, so there are 8 candidates running. The leading candidate by sort of common wisdom is Kendall Scudder. He is the current vice chair for finance of the party. So he's sort of up there already. He's already in the party's apparatus. So he has relationships with the people who are going to be voting tomorrow. But there are 2 sort of challengers against him, and those are, I think, Lily Schechter. She was the chair of the Harris County Democratic Party for 4 years, and also Patsy Woods Martin. She led Annie's List for 4 years. Annie's List elects progressive women in Texas. So those 2 are sort of seen as kind of his top challengers, but we will see what happens tomorrow. 121 members of the party's governing board are going to vote by ranked choice, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, it will be fascinating to watch tomorrow for sure. So in addition to all of that, they've got to choose who the next party chair will be for the Texas Democrats, but what kind of conversations are happening about how they should move forward or issues that they want to focus on to be able to gain some success at the statewide level?
Yeah, I mean, like on the national level, Democrats are looking really closely and trying to do a post-mortem of what happened and what led to the results that we saw in November. I think one sort of recurring theme is that the Democratic Party has lost credibility to working class people on affordability and sort of kitchen table issues. So a lot of candidates are talking about how do we gain that credibility back or earn that trust back? How do we meet voters where they are at in their communities? There's been a focus on especially Hispanic voters in South Texas who we saw surge to the right in November. So some candidates have sort of emphasized we have to focus on urban areas and rural areas and not rule any place out as we try to reach people before the next cycle.
Well, Kayla, we so appreciate you joining us to talk more about the reporting that you've done today about this, and I know there's much more to come.
Yes.
So I'm sure we'll check back in with you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Will.
All right, Kayla Guo again with the Texas Tribune. Thanks so much.
Thanks.